And welcome to this virtual meeting of the Paducah Planning and Zoning Commission and the Urban Renewal and Community Development Agency Board. We welcome all of you for joining us tonight, and we hope you'll join us as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Tonight is the meeting when we elect our officers, so I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mr. Summer.
Good evening and welcome everybody. I'd like to open the floor for nominations for chair for 2021.
I'd like to nominate Kathy Crecelius for chair.
Second.
Is there any other nominations for chair? Okay, hearing none, would we like, do I hear a motion to elect Ms. Crecelius by acclamation?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Madam Chair, take it away for vice chair.
I now open the nominations for vice chair, and I nominate Lorraine Schramke.
Second.
Second.
We're a good team. Everybody said.
Are there any other nominations? I would entertain a motion that we elect Ms. Schramke by acclamation.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you. Now, moving on to our first order of business. Mr. Summer, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Benberry,
Here.
Commissioner Bradford,
Here.
Commissioner Morrison,
Here.
Commissioner Pollard,
Here.
Commissioner Schramke,
Here.
Commissioner Wade,
Here.
Chair Crecelius.
Here. Thank you. Mr. Wade, you have the minutes motion, please.
I move that the reading of the minutes for the December 21st, 2020 meeting be waived and the minutes of said meeting as prepared by staff be approved as written.
Second.
Second by Schramke and Pollard. Are there any changes or corrections? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wade,
Aye.
Commissioner Benberry,
Unmute. There you go.
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Bradford,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Pollard,
Aye.
Commissioner Schramke,
Aye.
Chair Crecelius.
Aye. Our first items of business tonight are from the Urban Renewal and Community Development Agency. Because the Planning and Zoning Commission serves as the board for that agency as well, we will be handling two cases tonight. Mr. Morrison, could you read the motion for the first case, please? Harahan Boulevard, actually 508 Harahan Boulevard.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I move that the URCDA find that the property located at 508 Harahan Boulevard is surplus. I further move that the bid from Bryson Wells be rejected for failure to fulfill the required conditions and accept the bid of $325 and transfer the property to Boss Management Development, LLC, subject to the submittal of the additional documents as indicated on the bid form within 30 days and the standard clause applied in the Fountain Avenue redevelopment area, stating that the property would revert back to the city if the owner fails to comply with the submitted proposal and substantially complete the project within 2 years.
Second.
Second by Benberry.
The first bidder on this, Mr. Wells, was not able to complete the project. Staff is recommending that the second bidder of the project, Boss Management, be awarded the property. This specific home started out as single family at the turn of the century, and over time it turned into a duplex. And this particular petitioner is requesting to turn it back into single family again. The total proposed reinvestment is $65,000.
Is there anyone here to speak for the development or for the petitioner?
May I ask a question? Did the
Sure.
first developer or the first intended developer have the full 2 years to?
No,
come
they
up
had,
with what-
actually, I think it was a matter of they had 30 days to submit some documentation and they never submitted that.
Oh, okay.
Was, I'm sure that, and Nancy, I believe you're on the call. I'm sure that they were contacted. Did they just opt not to continue with the project?
They never got back with me. I tried to I talked to them once, and then when I called back 2 or 3 more times, giving them, actually, they've had more than that. They've had like 60 days. And I tried to contact them and they didn't ever return the calls anymore.
Are there any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Morrison,
Aye.
Mr. Pollard,
Aye.
Commissioner Shramky,
Aye.
Commissioner Wade,
Aye.
Commissioner Benberry,
Aye.
Commissioner Bradford,
Aye.
Chair Crecilius.
Aye. Ms. Shramky, I believe you have the other URCDA motion, 501 and 507 Harahan Boulevard.
I do, thank you. I move that the URCDA find that the properties located at 501 and 507 Harahan Boulevard are surplus. I further move the bid of $325 for each property is accepted. I further move the property be transferred to Charles Nichols, subject to the submittal of the additional documents as indicated on the bid form within 30 days and subject to the standard clause applied in the Fountain Avenue redevelopment area, stating that the property would revert back to the city if the owner fails to comply with the submitted proposals, substantially complete the project within 2 years and combine the 2 lots.
Second.
Second.
Second by Pollard.
This petitioner is proposing $325 for each lot. That's 501 and 507. He is proposing a 4-bedroom home in the amount of $150,000. And he has also proposed to combine the 2 lots, which would come before this body at a later date after the properties are transferred.
Do I remember, did he get property before? Is this,
Yes.
okay,
He did, but that property has not been transferred. He would still like to get the other property as well, if you all want to award him the 3
Okay.
lots. But he's also willing to just go with this one and forget the other one and rebid it the next time we advertise, if it's you all's decision. He will not be able to build on both lots within the allotted time.
okay,
But I didn't even send the request to transfer the property on the other one because he did not, he wanted 501, 507 Harahan. Before the meeting, we had his request to change that because the first person that bid on that had backed out, but it didn't get transferred. It was staff's fault that we actually took the wrong one to the board last time. But he's
Okay.
willing to take both if you.
But this was his first choice, right?
This was his first choice.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
This is a comment. There were 2 bids. One was withdrawn. So it's
Yes.
actually only one. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for your input, Nancy.
You're
Call
welcome.
the roll, please.
Commissioner Shramky,
Aye.
Commissioner Wade,
Aye.
Commissioner Benberry,
Aye.
Commissioner Bradford,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Pollard,
Aye.
Chair Crecilius.
Aye. Thank you. Now we move into our Planning and Zoning Commission cases. Our first case is
Excuse me, Kathy.
5235 Alvin Barkley Drive. Mr. Wade, I believe you have that motion?
Kathy,
Yes.
before you move ahead with that, can I interrupt just 1 second?
Sure, absolutely.
What is the board's preference on awarding the property on 1406 Harrison? That was the one that was already approved at the on December 21st, but I didn't move forward with that one.
So let me see if I get this straight. His first preference is 501 and 507 Harrison.
Yes.
Harahan, rather. So if we have just voted to award him that,
Right.
he does not want to proceed with the other one if he got this one.
No, he does.
He does,
But
both of them?
He wants, but he will not be able to do both properties within that time frame. So
Within
it
the
will
2-year
take longer.
time frame. What
So
would you
should-
recommend? Would you recommend that it be open for rebid?
I think so. I think he could rebid easily.
Well, and having been, and Bob can speak to this as well, in urban renewal, if he can't get the bulk of it finished in 2 years on a second, that doesn't do us much good
Right, exactly.
in moving property forward.
Okay.
My suggestion, and I really want to hear from everybody on the commission, would be to go ahead and rebid. Obviously, he can rebid if he wants to, but if someone else rebids, I mean, that would be it.
I'm not sure I understand the purpose of rebidding. Are you trying to reset the clock or something?
No.
I would not transfer the property to him.
Okay.
It hasn't been transferred yet.
Yes, so he don't
Then
own that.
for a clean paper trail, he should put in writing to the city that he desires not to move forward on this.
Absolutely.
Then you're cleared to go
Well-
ahead and begin the rebidding process.
But
Yes,
he
I think
does- he
you're
does want to go.
correct.
We've talked to the attorneys before on that with the city properties, and they say, and they have told us in the past to, at the time of transferring it the second time, to go back and rescind that bid, that order at that time. I don't understand it, but that's what they said. We didn't have to.
Can we
an order.
rescind the motion? I don't know.
I'm not sure what grounds we have to rescind it.
Well, I mean, without any kind of a statement from him that he can't possibly complete it within 2 years, that would be our basis for doing any kind of rescinding or reopening of a bid. I mean, he would have to pretty much pull out by saying that he can't possibly complete both projects and saying that he prefers to go ahead with 501 and 501 and 507 Harahan, and allow, I mean, with the understanding that it's going to be rebid, then he can rebid, and anyone else that wants to rebid can bid. Does that sound right? That seems like you talked about, the paper trail is what's important. We need to have documentation from him that he can't complete it within 2 years and that he prefers to move ahead with 501 and 507 Harahan.
Okay.
If my understanding is correctly, he already stated that he most likely could not complete
Yes.
both. So
Right.
But we need that in writing.
We need that in writing, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds logical, and I also think just for our protection, Nancy, perhaps you could clarify that with legal. Make
Yes,
sure that
exactly.
the verbiage is correct. and that
Otherwise-
this is what we should do.
Okay, that's just why we've done it in the city commission when we had city properties.
Yeah, I
Once
was
we,
gonna say, otherwise,
once we have
he's-
that in writing, then we can act on rescinding it. This group would
Right.
need to take that action.
Otherwise, he's held to the 2-year time clock for both property,
Right.
for
Right.
both pieces of property.
Yeah, he would need to
Such-
close on the property and the 2-year time clock begins.
Such a
And,
document, such a document might be good to have a formal document approved by legal so that we're sure we have all of our Ts and crossed and our Is dotted, and that could be used in the future also. So I really think we need some sort of a document that clearly states what we're requesting, that he make his intentions clear to us, etc.
Okay,
Perfect world, perhaps maybe both dwellings could go up at the same time at Harahan, and the one he gives is not one to you. If we rebidded it, we could have two units. That makes sense.
Well, I mean, if we rebid it, someone else could move ahead and that way the property gets developed. And that would just be the ultimate
That's
goal.
right.
Absolutely.
right.
That's right. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Nancy.
I apologize for interrupting you.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm glad you did. Okay, now, Mr. Wade, would you please read our first Planning and Zoning Commission case?
But before we do that, the motion that I have is to table it, but we haven't introduced it yet. Wouldn't this need to be introduced prior to it being tabled?
Well, I assumed that was part of the motion, that it was being introduced and immediately tabled. Is
Since
that
this,
not what the motion says?
No.
since this is not a public hearing, it's just simply the recommendation. Commissioner Wade, I do think you're correct. It should say, I move that this commission open case USC 2021-001 pertaining to 5235 Alvin Barkley Drive generally, or pertaining to 5235 Alvin Barkley Drive and table generally.
I can do that. All right, if we're ready, I will begin. I move that this commission open USE 2021-001 pertaining to 5235 Alvin Barkley Drive and table generally until a revised site plan and details have been submitted that reflect the following: the removal of the proposed diesel pumps and canopy in the rear of the site to prevent truck traffic, noise, light, and dust from being closer to the proximity of the medical offices, professional offices, and single-family homes. All lighting must be dark sky compliant, e.g. all light fixtures are fully shielded or recessed. A solid screen of evergreen trees and compatible landscape shall be installed along the east and west sides of the site. The existing buildings in the rear of the site that are not proposed to be removed shall remain to provide additional screening to the property behind the site. Any changes would require development plan review and approval by the planning department.
Second.
Second by Morrison. The reason why this is being tabled, this motion, is because the planning office has requested the changes that were enumerated to the plat. However, I think the petitioner and the engineers who are working on this would like to know if there are other items that we would like clarified or added to the plat. Are there any that this commission would like to hear, would like to see added?
I would say certainly, Madam Chair, that those items being added is a plus. So we're just not looking at, they're given an opportunity to fulfill the request from the planning office. So I think that's very good for business and the city.
I agree.
I always have concern here about ingress egress on this road. Both roads are terrible. And the traffic, there is a turn lane that is used both turning left and right. Some to get on North Friendship, some turning into the First Doctor's offices now with near head-on collisions taking place nearly every time I drive past there. I realize that's not data specific, but if you're putting another exit or entrance into that area from that roadside, people are going to be turning in that turn lane. The arrows are already back, I'd say at least 50 to 100 feet, and they're going to pick up and turn in quicker.
I agree. You're definitely
Guys, if we
complicating
could
the
see some
traffic pattern.
information- I'm
Well,
sorry.
toward that end, Josh, I would ask that when we speak of this again, that we be educated on what used to be called the 6-year road plan from the state, because I hear that North Friendship Road is on that plan to be expanded in some format, at least on the south side of that intersection, and would like for us to be educated on what that implications might be, if that is the case.
Yes.
And could we have a traffic study on that? Who would conduct a traffic study? Because I know that we've heard from a lot of people. We've heard different opinions of why it would work or wouldn't work or whatever. The entrance to St. Thomas More generates traffic at a certain time, and I wouldn't even have thought of that because it's so far back. But it certainly is relative to the site. So could we request a traffic study and see what the recommendation would be for additional traffic?
We can do that at the request of this body. I can make that request to the petitioners.
Is the petitioner or the engineer for the petitioner on the call tonight? And would they like to speak in favor of this project or give us some information about the project? I know that there are several other people who would like to speak, or not several, maybe a few people who would like to speak in opposition, and we'll give you an opportunity to speak as well. But let's hear from the petitioner first if we can.
Who is here representing the project?
Ms. Cornelius, this is Craig Stewart. I'm the regional director for Martin and Bailey Hucks. And we are going to make those adjustments to the plot and do some other things that we have requested. And know that as a lifelong resident of Paducah, we're very cognizant of the concerns. I live less than 1.5 miles from that intersection and know this area very well. That's been an undeveloped property for many, many years that is of value to the city and the county. What we're looking to do is really take advantage of the traffic that is there and fulfill a need in that area. And we'll do so by being a good corporate citizen, as we always are, and do the right things in terms of light mitigation and pollution. And we will make those adjustments that have been requested. We're looking to create an additional 30 jobs at a minimum. More than that, obviously, through the construction phase, but on an ongoing basis, at least 30 good paying jobs that, as the city of Paducah, we're always looking to add employment opportunity. And that's something that we want to do, definitely. One of the things that sets us apart from our competitors is that we are an ESOP. We're an employee-owned company, and we give back our profits every year to our associates. So they're not just our employees, they are indeed owners. And it is truly something that sets us apart from everybody else and goes right along with our mission of being a good corporate partner and citizen wherever we operate. So we'll make those adjustments and we'll listen to the concerns of the neighbors. I consider myself a neighbor because, like I said, I'm less than 1.5 miles from that property. So, welcome any more, any comments or concerns, and we'll certainly do our best to address those as much as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. I'm assuming that you have received the emails that have come in to the planning office. Is that true?
I have received some of them. I believe Troy Dietz, our real estate person has sent me some of those, and we do have a meeting tomorrow with one of the people that are concerned, certainly with what would be our neighbors there with Lotus. Very cognizant of their concerns and what we can do to mitigate those, but also what we can do to help them as well.
Is there anyone else here tonight on the call who would like to speak in favor of the project? All right, then, is there anyone else on the call who would like to speak in opposition to the project?
Hello, this is Joe Pittard, and I'm one of the area neighbors behind the property. And I just have a couple of questions. One, I heard rumors floating around that part of this property may be subdivided, and I wondered if there's any truth to that. And then I have a lot of general concerns about the health and safety of having a gas station near residential areas with the benzene, toluene fumes that are put out by service stations in close proximity to houses, businesses, and especially to Lotus next door, who has worked very hard to create an environment for the children and the families there to be able to enjoy being outdoors. And I really have a hard time seeing how that service station entity is going to add any value to what they're doing next door, especially when you consider the good things that they're doing and the large investment that they've made in that endeavor.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to the project? Please unmute and speak.
Hi, my name is Lori Brown. I'm the Executive Director with Lotus, and we're the Regional Children's Advocacy and Sexual Violence Resource Program. And thank you all for your attention to the concerns that we've shared. We did share those directly with you all, as well as Martin and Bailey, and they've been very open to discussing those concerns, which I appreciate. I think for us, we are certainly concerned about the potential negative impacts on the victims, the survivors and families that we serve. We have made a considerable investment in this property to create a sanctuary where survivors can feel safe, where they can be ensured of confidentiality, and where they can utilize what we're creating in the outdoor space to really help further along their healing and recovery. You all have already highlighted, I think, one of the main concerns that we have, in addition to just maybe a disruption in that, sense of safety and confidentiality for clients, and it's the traffic at that intersection. It's already very challenging for our staff, our partners, and our clients, to be able to exit our facility, given the placement of where our drive is. And so I think, one of the things I was actually going to try to find is there was a way to find some information about traffic. So I was glad to hear that you all may be recommending that traffic study, because that is certainly something of concern. And I have talked with Kentucky about the 6-year road plan, and it is definitely happening. And they anticipate the work to be done in their phase 2 within the next 2 years. We've been actually designing, what we're doing outdoors with that in line with that, expecting that to happen. I just want to be able to gather as much information, so that we can make an informed response.
So do we, and we appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to the motion? Please unmute and speak.
Hello. No.
No, you didn't do it. Dr. Love, you need to unmute. Dr. Love, you need to unmute. There you go.
Hello, I believe I have.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm also a neighbor, just back behind the property next to Dr. Pittard's house. I'm all for industry and businesses coming, bringing jobs to Paducah. However, several negative aspects of this. generally are high-value properties very nearby. And I believe that not only would it diminish the value of the local properties, but have a very negative effect on the tranquil and attractive neighborhood that exists there. Paducah is well known as a place with attractive residential neighborhoods and a good place to raise families and do business. This intersection is not only highly trafficked and have above average number of accidents, but these are roads where mothers drive their children. School buses course through here. Things that would add to more congestion and more likelihood for accidents would be very questionable in terms of judgment, I believe. I believe that it's very solid that there's at least one other buyer, a local person who lives just up the road nearby, who would consider using that same tract to develop very tasteful, high quality, attractive office buildings that would enhance the value of the neighborhood, not detract from it. There is a similar service station just up the road, a matter of blocks. There's no real need for additional redundant services. It would be of no benefit to the community, certainly the local neighborhood. I would also say that some of the other business interests, such as the office buildings that would go in there, would be higher level jobs for local residents. Although I was impressed by the gentleman's account of how the employees own and how there's profit sharing. In the main, these would be relatively low paid jobs with little upward mobility. Not the sort of thing that would compare favorably to a different sort of job opportunity that would come from a different sort of development. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to the motion? Please unmute and speak.
I'm Joe Dorch, and I live near that place. And I really feel like it's not a place to put a high traffic area there. This is our only access into Paducah that is mostly residential with college and churches. On top of that, the St. Thomas Church back entry is just very close to that intersection. And there's all kinds of residential people that live off North Friendship with beautiful houses and beautiful lawns. And I just feel like we've got Whitehaven on that exit. We've got the gas station on that exit. We've got all kinds of gas stations that are close to I-24. Why would we want to put one there? Why would we want to put something like this in the middle of a residential area? If you start driving in to Paducah from that area, it just feels so lovely. And on top of that, I really don't like the idea of adding another gas station when we're going to have to start thinking about electric cars and sustainable ways to get around and to use our energy. So it just doesn't seem plausible to me that this would be a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to the proposal? If there is, please unmute and speak. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to the motion? Please unmute and speak. For the third time, is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to the motion? If so, please unmute and speak.
Hi, my name is Cindy Jones. I live just up the street from that intersection. I walk by that every day. And it's one of the few areas in that end of town that has a sidewalk where people in the whole area can walk without being endangered. I also know that nearly every week there is a wreck at that site. There's a blue car there today. The parts are scattered all over the sidewalk today. It happens weekly. And, you know, my grandson comes through there on the school bus. Walkers go by there. It's very dangerous already. So I just want you to take that into consideration.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to the proposal? If so, please unmute and speak. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to the proposal? If so, please unmute and speak. For the third time, is there anyone in opposition to the motion who would like to speak? If so, please unmute and speak. All right, that will conclude the comments for tonight. Please know that because we are tabling this motion until our February 1st meeting, that there will be an opportunity on February the 1st for anyone who would like to speak either in favor or in opposition to the motion to do so at that meeting. All right.
Hey, Kathy, do we need to, I don't know if we got a vote on the table.
We need to vote. That's what I'm going to call for right now.
Okay, sorry.
But that's all right.
Oh, and
I just wanted to give everybody the opportunity to speak. Are
Madam-
there any other questions or comments from the commission?
Yes, please. We have agreed, we are getting a traffic study done. Is that correct, Josh?
That is the direction I'm getting from the Planning Commission.
Do we need to take a vote on that, or are we just making a request? Is that just that simple?
We've got the petitioners online, but I will make that formally to them.
Okay. My main, question there is about the ingress egress. Was that always available to that piece of property on Alvin Barkley? That close to that intersection just seems on the Alvin Barkley side. I mean, I get you're going to have problems on North Friendship turning left out of there, but turning left out onto Alvin Barkley is going to be interesting, to say the least. And also the other question I have is everyone notified once again, once this is tabled?
Commissioner Morrison, I'm glad you brought that up. I was fixing to advise everybody that there will be a different Zoom link for February the 1st. I have all the emails from the neighbors and concerned citizens and also the petitioners. So I will email out the new Zoom link for February the 1st at 5:30.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Again, we're voting to table this, to open the item of business and table it to our February 1st meeting. Or do we want to table generally continuing?
The motion is for generally, yes.
Okay, generally continuing. Are there any other questions or comments?
Just a quick question. Will they have enough time to submit everything that we've requested by that date?
If they don't, it's continued generally. So
Okay.
we'll send out information and let Josh, I'm assuming you can let people know that we will be continuing this if it's not going to be held on February the 1st. Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Perfect. All right. That's a good clarification. Are there any other questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question, Kathy. So the people that were originally notified, how will they be notified now for this February 1st? I mean, I know you said you were going to notify the people you received emails from, et cetera, but how do we let the general public or whomever wants to comment on this? Do we run an ad in the paper? Do we, what do we do?
We run an ad in the paper, and we also notify the adjacent property owners, which is required by state statute.
Okay, so that will be done for this next time also.
I can get that out.
Yes, thank you.
Good question. Are there any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wade.
Aye.
Commissioner Benberry.
Aye.
Commissioner Bradford.
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison.
Aye.
Commissioner Pollard.
Aye.
Commissioner Shramky.
Aye.
Chair Crusadis.
Aye. Thank you. Now we move on to our last item of business tonight. I guess I would need to say that originally there was an item of business that we were going to consider tonight, PLN 2021022, 206 Colonial Court. The applicant has requested that that be pulled. They are doing some additional research and will probably submit a new application in the future. So that's just so that everybody knows that. Now, our final item of business is 5510 and 5540 Cairo Road. Mr. Morrison, do you have that motion, please?
Yes, I do. It's rather a long one, so be patient. I move that this commission adopt a resolution approving the R4 high density residential zone and M1 light industrial zone classifications for property located at 5510 and 5540 Cairo Road. I further move the following findings of fact be adopted. The parcels are intended to be utilized for economic expansion, to serve industrial patrons in the city limits of Paducah, and the prime location is a commodity to the proposed new business. There have been major changes of an economic, physical, or social nature within the area involved, including new retail and industrial developments. The R4 high-density residential zone is appropriate for the front portion of the property because it provides a transition to more rural areas. The M1 light industrial zone is appropriate for the rear portion of the property because it would provide an important location for a service industry that already provides services to patrons in Commerce Park. Both zoning classifications would allow for new commercial and industrial development, which in turn provides jobs and further helps to provide a desirable location for services to patrons in the existing Commerce Park. I further move the above findings of fact be made in accordance with KRS 100.213. I further move the following conditions be placed on said approval as follows. No loading docks, overhead doors, or storage area shall face the west lot line. Screening shall be provided along the west lot line in accordance with the standards in section 126-83. Screening shall be in the 25-foot yard abutting the west lot line. Screening may be in the form of a solid row of evergreens. Any and all landscaping must be maintained and replaced as needed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Benberry. All right, Mr. Summer, can you update us on this property because there is a change?
Yes, the petitioners have submitted a new proposed zoning line that is different from the one that you have. Let me share my screen here. And I will be glad to show that to you. You will note that the original property line was south of the trailer on the property. The petitioners are proposing to move it north between the two garages, which is about an acre swap between the rezoned areas. The reason being they would like to incorporate this garage into the new development. And I also have a proposed drawing of that from the petitioners. And this will create about 15 jobs. But that is what the site is proposed to look like at the time. This is preliminary and subject to change.
Thank you. Are there comments and questions from the commission?
Josh, you said subject to change. Can you elaborate on what's subject to change about it?
Yes, this is a preliminary development plan that is used for you all to make a decision on the rezoning. Whenever we review this in the site plan stage, there may be changes that may need to be made. For example, stormwater location, utility locations, ingress, egress, that may require the site to change a little bit, but it will in principle look like this.
And that final site plan or final proposal will come before us again. Is that correct?
Not the final, just the preliminary.
So this is the preliminary that we're getting, correct?
Yes, and it'll look like this in principle.
But the final will go to the Planning and Zoning Department for final approval, and obviously have Josh and others time to comment and make recommendations at that time, along with engineering, right, Josh?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
I'm glad that you're here tonight. Do you want to make any comments in favor of this proposal, this rezoning? This is a public hearing, of course.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have anything further to add. I'm the engineer on the project. I believe Mr. Pummel and Mr. Swinford are on as well. They may have some comments.
Wonderful, thank you. Do you gentlemen have any comments you would like to make? If so, unmute and we'll be happy to hear you. All right. Are there any more comments or questions from the commission?
Josh, just quickly, I think the answer is yes, but was all the adjacent property owners and those of interest notified as well?
Yes, for rezoning cases, we notify property owners within 200 feet.
And since we're speaking about people who are property owners, are there any people or anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the rezoning? If you'd like to speak in opposition to the rezoning, please unmute now and speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the rezoning? Please unmute and speak. All right. Are there any last comments or questions from the commission? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Morrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Pollard?
Aye.
Commissioner Schramke? Commissioner Schramke?
Aye.
Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner Benberry?
Aye.
Commissioner Bradford?
Aye.
Chair Crecilius?
Aye. If there is no other business to come before the commission tonight, we stand adjourned at 6:21. Our next meeting will be February the 1st, and I believe it will be via Zoom. Is that correct, Mr.
Yes.
Summer?
That is
Okay.
correct.
Thank you all very much for being here tonight. We appreciate all the input and we appreciate your comments. Thank you and have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Thank you all.
Have a good night,
Thank
everyone.
you.